Hello and welcome back to the channel. I got an interesting video. Today we are going to dive into the full plot details that we have over Batgirl and try and get to the bottom of the question, is it really woke or really woke? More on that, but first of all, why am I doing this? I guess you could say that my last video wasn't convincing enough for some people, and we ended up with this comment here. I just read the same article you did, and I didn't read a single thing that sounded woke. Are you sure you know what it means? I guess we'll find out in this video. But then again, you don't know how to spell heroes either. I have to admit, people, I am a fraud. I'm a fake. It's true. Look, I'm actually just gonna turn this off. I'm gonna shut it down. Channel's over. Everybody go home. Sorry about all the trouble. I'm gonna go to a cave where I can hang my head in shame properly. Fuck off. I'm not doing any of that shit. Look, I admit, sometimes when you script, record, edit 4 videos in a day and create 4 thumbnails for them and post all 4 in a day, that, yeah, spelling mistakes happen. Now, but this guy does raise an interesting point, and I'm going to tackle it. He's not convinced, so you know what? I've started thinking to myself, well, maybe my last video wasn't convincing. Maybe I need to put together all the arguments clearly. So that's what we're going to do in this video. Get ready for it. Batgirl, full plot details that we have. These are what we have. This is what's on the internet. I've assembled everything that I could find, and we're going to get into that right now. So without further ado, let's start off with what we know. These are the existing leaks that we know about. All right, the movie was to be an amalgamation of the Burtonverse and the DC Extended Universe, altered by the time travel events of The Flash. That's interesting. More on that in just a second. Now, while J.K. Simmons reprised his Justice League role as Barbara's father, Jim Gordon, it was Keaton, not Ben Affleck, the Dark Knight of DCEU, donning the cape and cowl of Batman again after 30 years. But let's dive into this Flash. Now, we know that if we're in the Flash timeline, then, in my opinion, that whole timeline is woke. Not convinced? Well, let's go through it. First of all, Flashpoint, Zod goes back in time and kills Superman. But somehow we get Supergirl instead. Replacing a male hero with a female version? Woke. But you're going to say, but Supergirl existed in the comics, right? Yes, Supergirl did exist in the comics. Supergirl's been around a long time, but she wasn't brought in to replace Superman. She was introduced, and they existed together in that timeline and even worked together. So, again, taking a character who should be existing beside Superman and using that character to replace Superman, basically effectively gender swapping the character, woke. But what about the other character in that movie, the other female character that we're setting up as part of the all-female trinity, Wonder Woman? Well, when we last saw Wonder Woman in Wonder Woman 1984, remember that Wonder Woman did the thing with the guy without his permission, and nobody really called her out on that, not too much, and the whole thing was basically kind of swept under the rug because she's a woman? I don't know. That sounds pretty woke. That's a huge double standard. Not okay there. A woman with questionable ethical decisions that gets away with it because of gender, that's definitely a woke thing. What about Batgirl? Well, the first thing that I'm going to throw out there from Batgirl that we definitely know of that I think is woke, getting to topic here, the Batgirl race swap. Not saying I don't like Leslie Hughes. I'm sure she's a great actress. And I even got to say I'm happy that one thing they did was give her red hair. To make her actually look like Batgirl. But I think, in my opinion, she was chosen specifically so that they could have a minority represent the character. Now, is this necessarily bad? No. But race swapping a hero especially a hero as popular as Barbara Gordon. Very well known hero, very beloved character by everybody. Basically, there's tons of people that love both Batman and Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. That's pretty classic woke. I mean, race swapping. What else do I got to say there? All right, so we got more woke. Let's get into the specifics of what we know so far, though, with Batgirl, the leaks that we've seen so far. First off, according to Viewer Anon, a reputable insider with knowledge of Warner Brothers and other studio test screenings, Keaton would have appeared in just 5 scenes in Batgirl. And as I said in the last one, this was a little concerning for me. Now, when I think about it, if, say, each of those scenes is maybe 5 minutes long, then that's about 25 minutes. So that represents anywhere from, maybe 25% to 30% of the movie, depending on the runtime. So maybe that's enough time to set him up as the mentor. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe, that's enough time, right? We're bringing him in, somewhere after Call to Adventure and Refusal Call. The supernatural aid, which in this case is typically a mentor, would appear. And if that was Batman, aka Bat Keaton, then that would be perfect. But wait, he didn't train Barbara. We see that right here in black and white. He didn't train her. She just dressed up as Batman for a Halloween party and stopped some terrorists. Look, she doesn't have any training, then how is she stopping these people? What is going on here? I think we're going to get more illumination into that as I go into some additional details I found. But at first, that sounds a little woke. Having a female character who doesn't have to develop and is automatically good at something that they really shouldn't be good at sounds woke. But let's get back to that. Let's dive into the things that we don't know yet. And I've got some new information here from Matthew Belloni. So without further ado, let's get to those leaks. All right, so this is from Screen Rant. Batgirl story details in DCEU timeline setting reportedly revealed. On his podcast, The Town, Matthew Belloni revealed some Batgirl plot details, Easter eggs, as well as the canceled movie's place in the DCEU timeline. Belloni spoke to someone who saw an early Batgirl test screening. Okay, so this is going to be some good information then. Who shared details about the villain, Firefly, and some of the film's references to famous DC characters. Firefly is just a dude in a suit who may or may not have killed Batgirl's mother. Early on, it was a fire or something. I don't want to get into the details of the plot, which he said were very convoluted and involved multiple boyfriends and mob bosses. So let's stop right there. First of all, may or may not have killed Batgirl's mother. Now, this to me seems really like taking Batman's origin story and copying and pasting it over Batgirl. Now, this isn't a traditional origin story for Batgirl. I don't know. This kind of laziness, is it woke? No, is maybe not, but is it terrible storytelling? Yeah. Is it a little bit of literally trying to substitute Batgirl for Batman? I kind of feel like it is. When you basically take the origin story of another character and then place it onto a separate character who is the same but race swapped and gender swapped, again, I smell something. What is that? I think it's woke. They do show Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman mask, a nice little Easter egg, although Michelle Pfeiffer is not in the movie. This was supposed to come after The Flash, of course. And the first revelation about Batgirl's plot from Belloni's comments is that Fraser's villain, Firefly, aka Ted Carson, would have killed Barbara's mother early on in the movie, which would have been an original backstory for the character rather than one adapted from the comics. See? Alright, Batgirl wouldn't have been a true comic book movie without some Easter eggs, and apparently there were references to Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman from Tim Burton's 1992 Batman Returns and Jason Todd, who is the second character to play Robin in the comics. However, neither one of these characters were actually going to appear on screen, even though it may have unnecessarily convoluted Batgirl's plot. Sounds like it could have been promising in some regards. Okay, so as for the mask, I think the mask is just Is that woke? Taking, using the mask from Catwoman or seeing the mask from Catwoman? No, that's just a callback. It's a call out. It's pretty normal in these kind of movies to, just pick something from a previous movie. And, you're just sort of like that, hey, remember this, right? So for people in the know who know the Tim Burton's Batman, who know Batman Returns, and know Catwoman, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, they would be like, I know this, right? And, pandering a little bit, yeah, sure, but, mostly just member berries. Oh, I remember. So, woke or not? No, I don't think that's woke. There was more information that came out. Now, so far, I don't think this is a compelling case for woke, but I think we start to have the foundations behind it. The video's already going, this is going to be a long video, so here's what I'm going to do. This is the first part, and I'm going to end it here. And I'm just going to say, look, are you convinced? No. Even I'm not convinced at this point that this is really woke. Now, I've made a case that the timeline is woke. I've made a case that because of the timeline, there's gender swapping in the timeline, some forgiveness of unethical, questionable activities around Wonder Woman, probably because she's a woman. There's also race swapping in the timeline. Batgirl is race swapped. And they're treating Batgirl, because this is kind of a Batman Beyond type story, and yet not, because Batman is not acting as her mentor and is not training her. She's basically gender swapped Batman at this point. She doesn't seem to, this is like an origin story, but without the development. And that's a little bit confusing to me. Now, there is more information that I'm going to include in the next video, and I'm going to place a link to that in this video. But what do you think so far? Are you convinced? Definitely, in my opinion, the timeline and the approach here was a woke approach. But was Batgirl specifically woke? So in the next video, we're going to cover additional plot leaks and details that have come out. Those are going to be plot leaks from 4chan and these plot leaks from Scare Magazine. Stay tuned for those. We'll get into those details in the next video. But what do you think so far with the existing information that we had and the little bit of new information from Matthew Belloni? Do you think that we're starting to see, are you starting to be convinced that maybe Batgirl's a little bit woke, considering everything together? Or are you still not convinced? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to continue to watch this, then catch the next video in the series. And if you want to continue to smash the narrative, then smash the like, subscribe, and share buttons. And I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.